Welcome to the 7th day of 12 Days of Anime Month. Today, I'll be reviewing Howl's Moving Castle by Hayao Miyazaki. After making Spirited Away, which is often lauded as one of the best films ever made, Miyazaki's next project was adapting a book called Howl's Moving Castle. Mamoru Hosoda of Mirai and Summer Wars fame was originally going to direct, but dropped out of the project after facing creative differences with Studio Ghibli. So, Miyazaki ended up taking the director's share. Although Howl's Moving Castle isn't on the same tier as quality as Spirited Away, it still stands on its own as a great movie with one of the best romances in film. Howl's Moving Castle begins with a timid girl named Sophie. As she's trying to make her way out to visit her sister, she gets harassed by soldiers. But then, a mysterious stranger appears out of nowhere and helps her walk to safety. Through the sky. Despite the technology of the film's world sort of resembling a World War I society, magic is well and alive in this film. The stranger drops the girl off on a roof, and she's left smitten. But a witch visits her later that night and plants a curse on her. She will be an old woman until the curse can be broken by the ultimate magic. In her quest to break her curse, Sophie ends up finding her way to Howl's Moving Castle and becomes the castle's cleaning lady. She also learns that stranger she met earlier is actually Howl. The witch cursed her because of the two's interaction. In Howl's Moving Castle, magic and war coexist, but magic itself is mainly funneled for war. Mysterious blobmen serve as soldiers for a kingdom, and a sorcery academy students are drafted into the war. Howl shuns the war, and not just the side that opposes his home country. War destroys the land and several people's homes. As a result, Howl runs from both the head sorceress and the king. While the king and the sorceress think Howl's a coward for his own safety, Sophie correctly sees that Howl's a coward for a different reason. He doesn't stand against the war he despises. Instead, he runs away from authority. Importantly, we never learn why the war is happening. It's a waste of lives for some assumed estranged political purpose the citizens don't really care about. This movie was made around the same time of the Iraq War, which Miyazaki was vehemently against. With its scenes of destructions and a celebration of free choice and thinking, Howl's Moving Castle plays really well as an anti-war flick. However, these scenes against war are only really half the movie. The other half of the movie focuses on the development of both Sophie and Howl. At the start of the film, Sophie lacks any self-confidence in herself, especially in terms of appearance. But when she becomes old, she also fears herself less. With her aged-up appearance, Sophie isn't held down by society's standards of appearance for a woman her age, and she gains more agency. One of the first things she does is forcibly clean out Howl's filthy castle, to Markle's horror. Who's Markle? Well, Howl isn't alone in his castle. He has a little boy assistant named Markle, and a talking flame named Calcifer, who demonstrates Studio Ghibli's whimsy nicely. Sophie ends up cleaning and organizing the house, to the point that she becomes an integral part of the castle. Markle ends up looking up to Sophie as a mother, and Sophie's newfound agency starts to gradually break her curse. Sophie's curse never breaks from a kiss from a prince, or by finding a magical artifact. Instead, her curse starts to whittle down as she becomes happy with both the type of person she is and for the people around her. She goes from slouching and barely being able to walk with a cane to still being quite old but being able to walk upright. Her generosity in bringing a dog up some stairs attracts the dog to her and the castle, and she also ends up looking younger. Sophie breaks the curse on her own. Mostly. There's also Howl. While Sophie does do a lot of growing on her own, Howl is the one who insists that she's beautiful and helps her gain some self-confidence. While Howl is very superficial about matters concerning himself, like his hair color, a brush with a witch has taught him to appreciate people for who they are on the inside instead of how they appear. Early on in Sophie's stay, he catches her youthful appearance as she sleeps, a rare moment when the curse subsides. But that's not who Howl's in love with. Howl's in love with the Sophie who took charge of the castle, the Sophie who extends an arm of help to the very witch that cursed her, and the Sophie that also loves him. Howl learns to move past his selfish fears because he wants to be the best man possible for Sophie. Accompanying their love story is the Merry-Go-Round of Life composed by Joe Hisashi. Of all of Miyazaki's films, this one tends to be the one I hear most people loud as their favorite, and I think a lot of it has to do with the love story. It's a story of pure emotions that helps it stand above other films and the test of time. Beautiful animation accompanies Howl's Moving Castle, as we see both the destruction of war and the beauty of nature contrasting each other. It's a movie that very much rejects society and instead celebrates humans and their abilities to think and grow freely. Howl's Moving Castle might not change the way you think about life like Spirited Away has the potential to do, but it will still very much emotionally move you. It's a fine movie to watch, and I totally recommend it. And next up is... Let's Go! This is one of my favorites.